Good morning, my friends, my colleagues, my clients, people I've never met in person, people I spend a lot of time with. I'm so happy and grateful that you're with me either right now at this moment or perhaps later in the day or later in the week. Today is the beginning of truly taking step-by-step actions by asking the right questions into looking into yourself. This is IntoMeSee, looking into me. And window number one is the beginning of that process with truth-telling, telling the truth to myself, telling the truth to yourself, about myself. And it may be easy for many of us or most of us to tell the truth to ourselves about ourselves with the things that we consider positive. Although, strangely enough, some of us are even challenged in looking deeply and acknowledging the positive aspects to ourselves, or of acknowledging it as if it's a form of brag or a form of conceit. Let me begin with an acknowledgement of what I know is true. You and I were born with magnificence within us. And it's your job and my job to dig deep, to acknowledge it, to see it, to develop it, to allow ourselves to be the best of who we can be today, recognizing that that may be very different from what it was yesterday and may be very different from what it will be for tomorrow. It's also challenging to dig deep and to see into me, see into myself, for you to see into yourself. Those things that you're afraid to see, or you're afraid of other people seeing, or you're afraid of acknowledging, or afraid of other people acknowledging. Good morning, Jennifer. Good to see you. And so I have uploaded a list of questions which are for this first window for you to reflect on. For instance, I'll just remind you of some of those if you have not downloaded this yet for yourself. When I'm complimented by others, I feel comfortable or uncomfortable because. You know, a lot of us may receive lots of compliments and we say, thank you. And a lot of us might receive compliments and we feel really uncomfortable and we push it away. We try to deny it or dismiss it or deflect it or distract it because we're uncomfortable with receiving compliments. That's a red flag. That's information for all of us, because if we are uncomfortable receiving praise or acknowledgement or compliments, there's something deep inside that's saying, I'm not sure if I deserve this, or I'm not good enough or big enough or important enough to receive the spotlight here. And the fact is, we all are big enough, important enough to receive the spotlight all the time. When I look at myself in the mirror, I see. One of the assignments that I give my clients, and I'm going to give it to you today, I want you to begin a habit of looking in the mirror when you get up in the morning. I don't care what you look like. It could be before you brush your teeth or comb your hair or whatever. It could be afterwards. You choose the time. But I want you to look in the mirror in the morning and say, I love you, and you fill in the blank. So every day I say, I love you, Sheila Pearl, with all your perfect imperfections, recognizing I'm a work in progress. Life is not about perfection, it's about excellence. Life is not about perfection, it's about growing and expanding and learning and becoming better at doing whatever we want to do today than we perhaps were yesterday. Another question for you to fill in this worksheet is, I know my best talents are. Now, it's important to keep asking yourself certain questions because the answers might change. So I know that my best talents are could be a different answer for you today than it was 5 years ago or even a year ago, because maybe you've discovered something in yourself in the meantime and you acknowledge now what your best talents are. Long ago, when I was an opera singer and I was focused on being a performer, I don't think I could have said that my best talents were listening. I had not yet developed those talents. My best talents were singing and performing and hoping other people wanted to listen to me. But you see how that works. We often develop new talents as our lives evolve, and we even forget that we've established that new track in our expertise. What I most admire about myself is, think about it, what you most admire about yourself. And even the question itself may make you uncomfortable, because the whole idea of admiring yourself may be something that is a little off-putting to you. But it's very important that you begin the habit of saying to yourself, you know, I really respect and admire this part of you. Because if you don't admire that about you, how do you expect other people to? What I believe is fundamental in a loving relationship is. Now, your answer to that question might very well be different today than it was 10 years ago in your life. I know that from my experience that what's fundamental to a loving relationship, any loving relationship, is being present. But I also know that what's fundamental in any loving relationship with anybody else is loving myself. Now that's part of what this program is about, recognizing that IntoMeSee, intimacy, the intimacy that we really long for, crave, and desire with other people depends on the intimacy that we have with ourselves. And to put it in other words, intimacy can only thrive in a loving environment in which there's mutual respect and mutual acceptance. Well, how can I have intimacy with myself if I don't have respect and acceptance for myself, admiration for myself? So that's where this is coming from. If I want to have loving, intimate relationships with the other people in my life that matter to me, what matters first and foremost is to have a loving relationship with me, with myself. When I receive gifts from friends and family, my typical emotion is, and some people love to get gifts. They love the surprise. They love the attention. And some people feel very uncomfortable. Which one are you? I love to receive gifts. I love to give gifts. I wish I had $1 million more than I have right now so that I could give even more gifts, because one of my great pleasures is surprising people or getting someone I love something that I know that they'll love, and it's a great pleasure for me. Also, one of my great challenges and frustrations is that often I don't have enough money in the bank, as it were, to give the kind of gifts that I'd love to give to the people I love. So that when you receive a gift, is that something that's easy for you to receive or not? And if it's not easy to receive a gift, perhaps it's easier for you to give a gift. That's information about how you deep down inside feel about yourself, what you really believe about yourself. It's often said that it's not so difficult to give. The challenge is to receive. And in loving relationships, people with other people, lovers and significant others and close members of family, the greatest challenge is to receive gifts and say, oh, thank you so much. Oh, I love this. Thank you so much. For you to receive it with deep gratitude, recognizing, yeah, you deserve it. And they gave it to you because they love you and they want you to receive it with love. When someone offers to help me when I'm having a difficult time, my first response is, what would your answer be? A lot of people say, no, I've got it. No, thank you. I can do, I've got this. I don't need any help. A lot of people are afraid to admit that they might need help or support. What greater source of loving connection than to accept the help of someone who wants to be there for you to receive that help. Again, it's another form of receiving. Now, with number 11 on this list, we get into some of the aspects of ourselves that create an obstacle to self-love, self-acceptance, and to receiving love and acceptance from other people. And that is the things that we're hiding, the things that we're keeping secret, the things that we don't want others to see, or we're not even willing to see in ourselves. What that part of me that I want to hide from others seeing is. Perhaps at one time in my life, I wouldn't want others to see the extent to which I am financially inept, in which I've made big mistakes with financial choices in my life, which have had big consequences as I speak. I've chosen to be totally transparent, totally open. I'm an open book. I've written books about it, so I'm literally an open book. And I've decided if there's anything that I'm afraid for others to see, that's an invitation for me to go toward it. If there's anything I'm afraid of, that's my invitation to go towards whatever it is I'm afraid of. Because life is inviting me to go towards the things that scare me so that I learn that the thing that's really most frightening is the fear itself and not so much what's on the other side of it. I'll be very transparent with you, my friends. I'm 77 and I'm not Miss America. And there's certain parts of my body that I keep covered at all times because I don't want others to see those parts of my body, like the upper arm, the hanging skin and crinkling skin here. I am, to some extent, vain. I don't spend a lot of money on vanity per se. I inherited pretty good genes in terms of, certain parts of my face not falling as readily as maybe others might. And my dear grandmother, she should rest in peace, and my mother also, she should rest in peace, lived into their 80s, and they had a relatively smooth, sweet skin, and didn't show the wear and tear of age. So perhaps I could say, well, I kind of am enjoying my genetic gifts. But there are parts of my body that I want to hide. I don't want others to see. But other than that, the other parts of me that I may not want others to see, like my ineptitude or the fact that I am a clutterer or that I'm financially still learning how to keep my savvy, I'm not afraid to let you in on that. I'm not afraid to be transparent on that. The ways I show love to others. It's very important for us to begin to appreciate the ways that we show love to others usually has something to do with the way we like to have love shown to us. It doesn't mean that other people operate the same way. And that goes to the 5 love languages, by the way. But the ways that you show love to others is indicative of something about yourself. And then the ways I experience feeling loved by others. So it's important to be aware of what you need and desire and crave to feel loved, and to recognize that sometimes if someone you love doesn't give that to you or doesn't express that to you, to begin to appreciate the triggers that might have, so that you learn a very important lesson for all of us in life, and that is, don't take it personally. What other people are doing or not doing or saying or not doing is not really about you. It's more information about them. So if other people don't show you love the way you like to be shown love, it doesn't mean they don't love you, but it does mean that may not be their love language. So that you begin to learn how important it is to not take other people personally. The kind of person I'm most attracted to is. That's information about you. You might tend to be attracted to other people that are more like you. That may be a conscious choice or unconscious choice. Or you might actually be attracted to people who are less like you. Maybe you kind of like that tension. Maybe you like to be around people that are different from you. You like what that provides for you. I'm not quite sure what that would be for you, but to just pay attention to the kind of people that you're attracted to. Then the next level would be that if the people that you tend to be attracted to tend to be the kinds of relationships that don't work for you, pay attention to that. Because it doesn't mean that you can't have a loving relationship. It doesn't mean you can't have an intimate relationship. It may mean that you need to choose another kind of person. So to begin to dig deep into that aspect of yourself, this is just level one. This is just window one. We're going to be going through several windows. So this is just the beginning. When I'm around people I don't like, I know that I'm annoyed by. So just think about a person or people or a group of people that maybe you're obligated to be around, maybe members of your family, maybe people in your business, maybe people that are part of a community that you're obligated to be a part of and attend a meeting every now and then. And so you're having to be around these people, and yet you notice that you're annoyed. Something is annoying you. So ask yourself the question, what's annoying me? What's irritating me? So that you become more aware of what those feelings are. In the work that we're doing in this program, it's all about emotional intelligence. To become more aware of what you think and feel so that you can respond to yourself and your life more effectively. So begin to pay attention to what it is that annoys you with certain people. And then to notice that when I'm around people I do like, I know that I'm being inspired or most inspired by. So, for instance, when I'm around members of my speaker tribe, whether it's the National Speakers Association in Manhattan or my Toastmasters group here in the Hudson Valley, I am inspired by this group of people who have open minds, open hearts, who are gathering together because they have a story to tell, they have a message to give, and they care about other people, and they care about their work, and they care about being the best they can be. And I'm inspired by people like that. So notice what it is that you are inspired by being around the people that you most enjoy being around. Then I know that my greatest energy drain is. Everything's energy, my friends. Everything. So we need to pay attention to what it is in our lives that drains our energy or gives us energy. So what I've learned about energy drains, by the way, is that whatever you resist, whatever you're pushing against, is a tremendous source of energy drain. So if you are working at a job that you really don't like, it's something that you really need to do right now just to make ends meet, to pay the bills or to just keep on trucking, right? But you really don't like that job. And so you get really tired. Your energy is drained by being on the job. I want to suggest to you that you find a way to be grateful for the job that you have, and that you find a way to be excited about the job that you have, so that you're not pushing against having the job that you have. So you're not pushing against being required by life circumstances to be doing something you prefer not doing. Years ago, that was a situation I was in. I wanted to be an opera singer, and my husband was unemployed. And in order to make ends meet and to feed our family and to pay the mortgage, I needed to go back to work in a field that I really didn't want to be in, and I got a job as a legal secretary. Luckily, I could do it well, and luckily for me, they trained me to do a lot of what I hadn't done before, including learning how to use a personal computer, or at that time it was a desktop. This is at the beginning of the computer age, personal computers and desktops. And I resented going to work. I was angry. Every day I cried. I was resentful. And yet that job was important. It really paid the bills. It took care of us. I was able to have health insurance for all of us. And I got very sick. And I realized when I got very sick that what probably had contributed to my illness was my anger, my resentment, and my hostility towards doing something I didn't want to do. I was resisting what was necessary at the time. So during my recovery, I realized what I was really engaged in here, and I decided to go back to the job and to be very, very grateful. Good morning, Anne. It's good to see you. And I decided to be very grateful for that job. And I decided to be very curious about all the things that I could learn while I was on the job. And my energy shifted 180, 360, if you will, completely shifted. And within a few months, by the way, of that shift and in that healing process, I actually landed the job of my life, which was being a cantor in a synagogue in New Jersey, and my dream job, if you will. So I was able to sing, get paid for it, teach, get paid for it, be a spiritual leader, get paid for it. I mean, who would have thought that was possible? Good morning, Cheryl. Good to see you. So I am convinced, because of my own experience, that when you push against something that you are doing, you don't want to do, if you resist it, it will be an energy drain and it can make you sick. So find a way to be grateful, but be aware of what it is that drains your energy. Be aware of the people that you may be around that drain your energy, and minimize your time with people that do drain your energy. Make a point to do other things and spend time with other people who are a source of energy surge and energy refueling. So then one of the next questions is, I know that my greatest source of energy surge is. So be aware of what fuels your energy, what drains your energy. Be aware of the people and the activities, the music, the food, the environments that drain your energy or fuel your energy. And do everything you can to enhance and to build and to fuel your energy with the music, with the food, with the people, with the colors, with the sounds, all those things that fuel your energy. This past weekend, I attended an event in Woodstock. One of my teachers, Gail Straub, has recently written a book called The Ashokan Way. And it's a beautiful book. I recommend it to anybody and everybody. And it's reflections over a period of a year in which she's out in nature walking and being in touch with the, the, the world, with the sky, with the ground, with the trees, with the birds, with the growing things. And I realized as I went to this reading of her book and the conversation that took place with all of us who attended, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm not out in nature nearly as much as I need to be, as I really desire to be. And I had dinner Saturday night with a dear friend of mine who's out in nature all the time. We talked about how that fuels her energy, and she makes a point to go to Mohawk up at the mountains and to stay and to walk the trails, and makes a point to go to places like the Grand Canyon, which she's done now twice, and walks the trails and has exhilarating experiences being in nature. And the same friend I was having dinner with, who loves nature and is very much committed to being related to nature, is also related to music. We're both former opera singers, so we share that great love of music. And often when we're together, we'll have dinner and listen to music, all of which lifts our spirits and gives us energy surges. So be aware of what fuels your energy. The last question, I have 30 questions on this worksheet for you for this week, and I'm just sharing just a few of them. But the last question is, I know that my most undeveloped talent is. Let's agree that we all have many talents, many of which we don't even know. And this really goes to, you just don't know what you don't know. A friend of mine many years ago was a singer at the New York State uh, Opera, New York City Opera. And she had starring roles. She had ostensibly reached the pinnacle of her career and was living her dream. And one day she went to her husband and she said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to do this anymore. She was about 45. And she hadn't lost her voice. She wasn't, like at the end of her career. She was actually at the top of her career. She was doing very well. But for whatever reason, she was no longer interested in doing that. She closed shop in her singing world. She decided to take an art class. She had never in her life taken an art class because she'd been busy all of her life since her teenage years singing. So she took this art class. Well, what developed was that she discovered she had a talent for art, and specifically watercolors. And she's a well-known artist now in not only the Hudson Valley, but beyond. So you never know what your undeveloped talents might be. One of the things you might do is just notice what interests you and to continue to expand your exposure to different avenues of life. If you enjoy going to museums and looking at art, there might be something in you that's saying, you might want to create something yourself. So this window number 1 is your way of beginning the aspect of looking into yourself in perhaps ways you never looked at yourself before, and to ask questions and to be willing to be honest with yourself, to tell the truth to yourself, about things that you've never even thought about before. So every week, I give you an opportunity to dig deep and to ask questions and to ponder and to write in your journal and play some music that appeals to you and think about the questions that I've given you on your worksheet and discover you. So let me know what you discover. Talk to me on Facebook. I'm so happy we're here together. I'm happy that you're here with me. And I'm looking forward to others of you who will join me, not on this live Facebook video, but later. Take a look and let me know. Give me your thoughts. And most important, share your thoughts with yourself about yourself this week. Telling the truth to yourself about yourself is a very, very rich experience. Enjoy it. Bye for now.